I never thought I'd be the one holding the foreclosure papers over my own mother's head. But there I was, in the dim glow of her bedside lamp, watching her eyes widen like I'd just confessed to murder. "Luna, you wouldn't," she whispered, her voice cracking like cheap porcelain. But I already had. My finger hovered over send on the email that would gut their retirement fund, and the sick thrill twisting in my stomach told me I absolutely would. It started with a single voicemail from the property manager I'd trusted for years, the one my parents swore was family. "Luna, they're coming for you. Eviction notice filed this morning. Your dad's signature's on it." I played it back 3 times, each listen carving deeper into the betrayal I'd spent a decade burying. The kind that doesn't scar on the outside but festers until you're hollowed out. By dawn, I'd drained their joint account dry, rerouting every cent to an offshore shadow I'd built in the sleepless nights after their last lie. Revenge isn't sweet. It's the bitter aftertaste of realizing your blood runs colder than theirs ever did. I remember the day they handed me the keys to the Hawthorne Street duplex like it was some golden ticket to the American dream. It was 2015, the height of that post-recession scramble where everyone in our Cleveland suburb was flipping houses like poker chips, betting on the Rust Belt revival that never quite stuck. Mom and Dad, Eleanor and Richard Voss, the power couple of Shaker Heights real estate, had sunk their life savings into it after Dad's construction firm tanked during the crash. "This is your inheritance, Luna," Mom said, her manicured nails glinting as she dangled the key fob. "Manage it right, and it'll set you up for life. We're counting on you." I was 25, fresh out of Kent State with a business degree that felt as useful as a screen door on a submarine. No job offers, just student loans gnawing at my heels like stray dogs. The duplex was my lifeline, 2 units in a fading Victorian row. Tenants who paid on time, mostly young families scraping by on factory wages and the occasional gig from the airport shuttle runs. I poured everything into it. Fixed the leaky roof myself with YouTube tutorials and a Home Depot credit card. Screened renters like they were applying for the Secret Service. Turned a money pit into a steady drip of $3,000 a month. Split 3 ways: rent after expenses, a cut for the property manager, and the rest funneled straight into their retirement IRA. They called it the family project. Dinners at the club where they'd toast my hustle, Dad clapping me on the back with that salesman grin, the one that sealed deals on overpriced colonials to desperate millennials. Mom would slide me an envelope, bonus for hitting occupancy targets, always cash, always with a wink. "Keep it off the books, sweetie. Taxes are for suckers." I laughed it off then, chalked it up to their boomer cynicism, the same edge that got them through Dad's bankruptcy and Mom's pill-popping phase after Grandma's funeral. But cracks show eventually, like frost heave buckling a driveway. It was 2 years in when the first audit letter landed. IRS. Stamped red and official, demanding records on unreported rental income. I panicked, rifling through shoeboxes of receipts in the duplex musty basement. Everything was clean on my end, ledgers balanced, deposits tracked. But when I called the property manager, Hal, his voice went slurry, like he'd been hitting the flask early. "Luna, kid, don't sweat it. Your folks. They handled the filings. Talk to them." Handled. That word stuck like gum on a shoe. Dad met me at the duplex that afternoon, his Ford F-150 idling curbside like he couldn't commit to staying. "It's nothing," he said, not meeting my eyes. "Just a glitch. We'll square it." But the glitch was a $47,000 shortfall, undeclared cash skimmed from rents, funneled into side investments that turned out to be poker nights at the VFW and Mom's Botox Fund. They hadn't reported a dime of my management fees either, lumping it all under Dad's defunct LLC to dodge capital gains. I took the hit, signed the amended returns, pled guilty to misdemeanor tax evasion in a plea that kept it off my record but saddled me with a $22,000 fine. Paid it from the duplex emergency fund, the one I'd built for busted pipes, not bailouts. "You're the strong one, Luna," Mom cooed over the phone from their Florida timeshare. "This stays in the family. No cops, no headlines." I swallowed it down, told myself it was loyalty, not leverage. Borrowed from my credit line, worked doubles at the coffee shop to cover the rest. They never paid me back. Not a cent. That secret buried us all deeper than I realized. For 8 years, I rebuilt. Got my realtor's license. Flipped a condo in Parma for profit. Even started dating a guy named Theo who fixed bikes and quoted Hemingway like it made him deep. The duplex hummed along, Unit A with the Wilsons, a nurse and her trucker husband, Unit B rotating through grad students from Case Western. Quiet types who left the place spotless. Hal handled the day-to-day, skimming his 10% like clockwork. And I trusted him because he was Dad's old crew chief, the guy who'd poured the foundation on our childhood home. Trust is a luxury, though. In a city where Lake Erie's wind erodes everything eventually. Last spring, Theo proposed on the duplex sagging front porch. Ring from a pawn shop that still had that forever shine. We dreamed small, wedding at the Arboretum, down payment on a bungalow in Lakewood. I showed him the books. The steady equity building like compound interest on a promise. "This is ours someday," I said. He kissed me like he believed it. Then the voicemail. October 15th, 6:47 a.m. My phone buzzing me awake in Theo's apartment. The sheets tangled from a late shift arguing over paint swatches. Hal's gravel voice, laced with apology. "Luna, they're filing. Eviction for non-payment of utilities and back rent. Your name's on the lease as guarantor. But Dick, he signed the complaint. Said you're unreliable. Call me back. Kid. We gotta talk." Unreliable. The word landed like a sucker punch, knocking the air from my lungs. I drove to the duplex on autopilot. The fall leaves clotting the gutters like clotting blood. Unit A was dark. The Wilsons had moved out 2 weeks prior, citing maintenance issues I'd never heard about. Unit B's door hung ajar. A U-Haul trailer hitched to a beat-up Civic. Grad student ghosts hauling boxes in the drizzle. Inside, the place reeked of neglect, carpet stained with what smelled like spilled ramen. Walls scrawled with Sharpie graffiti, "Fuck landlords." Hal was there, nursing a beer on the stairs, his guts spilling over his belt like dough rising wrong. "They didn't tell you," he said, not looking up. "Your folks sold the note last month. To some hedge fund out of New York. Said you were mismanaging, tanking the value. Eviction clears the slate for a flip. Sold the note. My inheritance. Securitized and sliced like deli meat." I grabbed his collar, shook him until his flask clattered down the steps. "You knew? All this time?" Hal's eyes darted, guilty as a cornered rat. "Dick called me in July. Said to let things slide, unpaid bills. Complaints ignored. Said it'd force your hand, make you walk away clean." Force my hand. Like I was the problem, not the patsy who'd covered their asses for a decade. I shoved him off, stormed out into the rain, tires hydroplaning on the slick blacktop as I aimed for Shaker Heights. Their McMansion glowing like a false beacon. Mom answered the door in yoga pants and a cashmere sweater. Her face Botox smooth, but eyes flickering with that old panic. Luna. Honey.
Come in.
It's pouring. Dad was in the den. Scotch in hand, Fox News droning about border walls. I slapped the voicemail transcript on the coffee table, printed hasty from my phone. Ink smudged like tears. Eviction? You sold me out for a quick buck. They tag-teamed it. Classic boss maneuver. Mom played the victim. We're drowning.
Luna.
The market soft. Your father's health. Dad jumped in. Bluster mode. You let it rot. Tenants complaining. Value in the toilet. We're saving the family legacy. Lies stacked like Jenga blocks. Each one wobbling. I pulled up the county records on my phone. Sale recorded September 28th. Proceeds wired to their account. $280,000. Minus my management debt they conveniently inflated to wipe me clean. That's when the hook twisted deeper. In the fine print, buried under layers of legalese, was the kicker. The hedge fund buyer? A shell company Dad incorporated last year. LoveRevengeX LLC. They'd looped it back to themselves, evicting me to trigger insurance on vacancy losses, pocketing double dip from the flip. And Hal paid off with a cut, his slurry voice now reeking of complicity. I left without a word, the rain masking the sob clawing at my throat. Theo was waiting with takeout tie, oblivious. Rough day. I nodded, curled into him, plotting in the dark. Revenge isn't planned in fury, it's forged in the quiet hours when betrayal echoes like a bad loop. By midnight, I'd logged into the bank portal, the one with admin access from those family project days. Passwords unchanged because trust dies hard. Their joint account, $412,000. IRA, $1.2 million. I didn't touch it all. Just enough to sting. Froze the transfers. Flagged for fraud review. Called the bank hotline. Anonymous tip line hot on my tongue. Suspected embezzlement from rental properties.
Check Voss.
Richard and Eleanor. But that was just the appetizer. The real feast? Digging up the skeleton they'd buried with me, the 2015 audit. The plea deal I'd taken to shield them. Court records sealed, but not forgotten. A quick hack through Theo's buddy at the clerk's office, a six-pack and a favor. And I had the unredacted file, Dad's signature on falsified ledgers. Mom's emails to the accountant begging to cook the books. They'd framed me as the fall guy. Coached me on what to say to the feds. Plausible deniability.
Kiddo, Dad had joked. Now.
It was my turn to serve. The next morning, I filed my own countersuit quiet, under the radar, alleging fraud and undue influence. But the real blade? I reached out to the Wilsons, the evicted nurse and her husband. Turned out, Hal had lost their security deposit checks, citing damage that never happened. They were pissed, ready to talk. Then the grad students, turns out, Unit B's last occupant OD'd in the tub, needle marks hidden by the graffiti. Overdose ruled accident, but whispers of laced fentanyl from a dealer Hal knew too well. Coincidence? In Cleveland? Maybe. But I smelled setup. A way to vacate fast without refunds. I met the Wilsons at a dive bar off Euclid, the kind with peanut shells on the floor and Miller High Life on tap. Maria Wilson, RN at Metro Health. Her scrubs still creased from shift. Her husband,
Tom,
broad as a fridge, fingers scarred from diesel engines. They ghosted us. Luna, Maria said, nursing a soda. 2 months, rent back owed. Plus the deposit. Said the place was trashed, but we left it pristine. I slid them copies of the sale docs. Highlighted the Voss LLC loop. Tom's jaw set like concrete. Suing the bastards?
Not yet, I said.
But testify for me. Affidavits on the eviction scam. They agreed. Eyes hard with that working-class grit, the same that kept Cleveland standing after the mill shuttered. From there, it snowballed. I cold-called the hedge fund's compliance officer. Dropped Hal's name and the OD file. Due diligence issue, I purred. Voice modulated through a burner app. Property history includes unreported liabilities. Pull the note or face SEC scrutiny. Panic rippled back. Dad called that night. Voice oily over speaker. Luna. What's this about the bank freeze? Some mix-up. I let silence stretch. Then, mix-up? Like the one where you pinned your tax dodge on me?
Click.
He hung up, but not before I heard Mom's gasp in the background. Theo noticed the shift. The way I'd stare at my laptop till 3 a.m. Coffee cold in the mug. Babe, you're scaring me, he said one night, tracing the shadows under my eyes. I told him half-truths, the duplex fight, the betrayal. Omitted the revenge ledger I kept in an encrypted drive, targets, timelines, contingencies. It's justice, I whispered. He pulled me close, but his grip felt tentative, like he sensed the fracture line running through me. By week's end, the bank unfroze nothing. My tip had triggered a full audit, IRS again, circling like vultures over roadkill. Voss Ventures LLC dissolved overnight. Assets seized pending review. Mom texted, "We can fix this." Family meeting? I replied with a screenshot of the 2015 plea docs, unsealed now via my clerk favor. Families overrated. But Hal? He was the wild card. The schemer who'd flip for a nickel. I cornered him at the duplex. Now yellow-taped as a crime scene. Wait. No. Just eviction hold. The OD kid's death had cops sniffing for negligence. Hal slunk out from the shadows. Flask in pocket. Luna. I didn't mean. Save it. I thrust my phone at him. Recording app live. Testify. Full story. Dad's payoffs. The faked complaints. The sales scam. Or, I drop your name to narcotics. His face crumpled. A man who'd built houses but lived in ruins. Dick promised it'd be clean. Said you were in on it. The tax thing. In on it. The lie that kept giving. Hal flipped right there. Words spilling like cheap whiskey, admissions of forged tenant notices, pocketed deposits. Even a side hustle renting the basement to dealers for quick cash. I walked away with his sworn statement. Notarized at a UPS store for $15. FedExed it to the DA's office. CC'd to the hedge fund. The flip was on, their puppet strings cut, now dangling me as the avenger. But as the noose tightened, doubt crept in. Was I saving the duplex? Or burning bridges to ash? Theo proposed we move to Pittsburgh. Start fresh. Let it go. Luna. It's poison. I smiled. Kissed him. But my mind was already on the next move. The audit hit like a Cleveland winter, brutal. Unrelenting. IRS agents swarmed the McMansion. Boxes of files hauled out under gray skies. Neighbors rubbernecking from their driveways like it was a Black Friday sale. Dad lawyered up quick. Some K Street shark flown in from D.C. But the paper trail was a noose of their own making. Emails from 2015, Mom to the accountant. Make Luna the signatory, she's young. They'll go easy. Dad's text to Hal. Let the place slide. Eviction by Christmas. Flip by spring. Luna walks with nothing. I watched from afar. Holed up in Theo's place. Live streaming the spectacle via a drone app one of his biker buddies loaned me. It felt surreal, like binging a true crime pod while the bodies piled up in your own backyard. The duplex sat vacant. A ghost ship in the fog off Lake Erie. Its equity now a legal black hole. My countersuit ballooned. Fraud. Breach of fiduciary duty. Emotional distress, hell. Why not? Lawyers circled like sharks at a chum line, but I rep myself pro-SE, poring over pacer dockets till my eyes bled. Mom cracked first. Showed up at the coffee shop where I pulled shifts, her Chanel scarf askew. Mascara tracks like war paint. Luna.
Please.
Your father's heart. I cut her off. Steam wand hissing behind me. Heart attack convenient. Mom, like the flu that kept you from my college graduation? She clutched the counter. Voice a whisper shriek that turned heads. We did it for you. The duplex was leverage. Get you married. Settled. Not chasing ghosts.
Ghosts.
That's what she'd reduce me to. The fall guy who'd absorb their sins so they could play saints at the country club. I slid her a latte. Extra foam. Like it was mercy. Tell that to the judge. She left with a parting shot. You're just like your aunt, the one who OD'd. Self-destructive. Aunt Clara. The family black sheep. Hooked on pills after Dad's firm stiffed her on a loan. First time Mom ever mentioned it. Seed planted. Hal's testimony dropped like a bomb. DA subpoenaed him. And under oath, he sang every dirty deal, from the rigged evictions to the basement fentanyl pipeline. Turns out, the OD kid wasn't random, Hal supplied. Dad turned blind eye for protection fees. Misdemeanor charges for all. But the civil suits? Carnage. Wilson's filed class action style for displaced tenants. Grad students' families sued for wrongful death negligence. Hedge fund bailed. Unloading the note back to Voss at fire sale price, $50K. Underwater. Dad's flip came in the deposition room. Video leaked to the plain dealer by my anonymous tip, guilty. Blustery to broken in 60 seconds. Luna knew. She managed the books. Any irregularities are hers. Gaslight gold. I countered with timestamps, my logs clean. Their overrides buried in metadata. Public opinion split hard. Voss family feud trended on X. Blue-check realtors calling me a vindictive millennial leech, while Rust Belt moms hailed me as every tenant's revenge fantasy. Theo scrolled it all. Face paling. This isn't you, Luna. It's eating you alive. Maybe. Nights blurred into codeine-fueled hazes, pills swiped from the shops lost and found, chasing sleep that wouldn't come. The duplex haunted me, its empty windows staring like judgment. I drove by 1 midnight, parked under the street lamp where Theo proposed. Broke in through the back, lay on the cold kitchen tile, tracing cracks in the linoleum like veins. That's when the real secret clawed free, a hidden panel in the cabinet. Ledger from 2013. Dad's handwriting, loans to LC, Luna Clara.
Me.
They'd fronted my tuition, buried it as gifts, but twisted it into debt when the audit hit. The fine I'd paid, double counted against my share. I'd borne their crime, but carried my own unwitting weight. Twist of the knife. I wasn't innocent. Those cash bonuses? I'd laundered them through the duplex. Undeclared side gigs to pad my cut. Small potatoes, but enough to taint the high ground. Moral ambiguity. Served cold. Climax brewed in the courtroom. Federal building in downtown Cleveland. Marble halls echoing with whispers. Judge Harlan, a grizzled vet with Reagan-era hair, presided over the consolidated mess. Tax fraud, civil, eviction appeals, negligence claims. Mom and Dad flanked by their shark, faces gaunt under fluorescent glare. Solo in off-the-rack blazer. Theo in the gallery squeezing my hand before the bailiff called order. Opening statements flew like barbs. Their lawyer painted me as the ungrateful daughter, weaponizing family ties for personal gain. I rose, voice steady from rehearsed nightmares. They weaponized me first, framed a daughter to shield their greed, evicted her to cash in on chaos. Exhibits rolled, emails, ledgers, Hal's video deposition playing on screens, his hungover confession booming. Gasps from the tenant section, the Wilsons nodding fierce. Dad took the stand, crumbling under cross. Did you direct Mr. Hal to fabricate tenant complaints? Objection leading, sustained, but the damage stuck. Mom followed. Tears art directed. But her slip, we had to protect the asset, sealed it. Asset. Reduced to balance sheet. My turn. Under oath. I laid it bare. The 2015 plea. The buried debt. Even my own fudges. I took the fall because I love them. But love's a poor excuse for complicity. Jury blue-collar mix. Lake Erie salt in their eyes, leaned in. Faces splitting, some nodding empathy, others frowning at my admissions. No heroes here. Just survivors clawing from the same sinking ship. Then the flip I didn't see. Hal, recanting mid-trial. Called as rebuttal. He shuffled in, eyes darting to Dad's glare. I lied before. Luna. She knew about the basement deals. Pushed for higher rents to cover. Perjury stench. But timed with an envelope under the table. Dad's last bribe? Chaos erupted. Judge banging gavel like thunder. Mistrial whispers. But I smelled setup. Hal's flip. Dad's desperate pivot. Dragging me down to rise. Outside recess. In the marble echo. Mom cornered me by the vending machines. End this. Luna. Settle out of court. $100,000. The duplex retitled to you. Bait. Sweet as cyanide. I saw the trap. Admit partial fault. Let them walk on misdemeanors. But the twist gnawed. If I pushed, Hal's lie might stick, tainting my suit. Tenants suffer. Theo bolts. I end up the villain in my own story. Theo waited in the hall. Ring box in pocket, he planned to surprise post-verdict. Whatever you decide. I'm in, but his eyes said doubt, the fracture widening. I kissed him. Tasted salt, mine or his. Who knows? Back in session. The decision loomed. Jury deliberating under fluorescent hum. I stared at the family across the aisle, Mom's trembling hand on Dad's knee. His jaw set in that salesman's steel. No winners. Just wreckage. My revenge had frozen them out, but thawed nothing in me. The foreman returned at dusk. Lights low in the emptying courthouse. On the fraud count, liable. Gasps. Cheers from the gallery. Damages, $450,000 to tenants fund, $200,000 restitution to me. But the kicker, judges ruling on the duplex, foreclosed. Proceeds split pro rata. I got 40%. Enough for a fresh start, but the home I'd bled for? Auction block. Dad lunged. Voice raw. You destroyed us. Luna. Mom sobbed. Real this time. I met their eyes. Saw the mirror. Greed's echo in us all. Hal slunk out. Charges pending for his flip. Theo pulled me into the night. Rain slicking the streets. It's over? Not yet. The final twist. That night. Anonymous email from a burner. Hal's confession redux. Full vid. Time-stamped pre-trial. Blackmail insurance? Or his redemption arc. I deleted it. Watched the duplex lights flicker one last time from afar. We drove west. Toward the lake. Wind whipping like absolution. Happy ending? If reclaiming your spine counts. Tragic? When the victory tastes like ash. And family ghosts ride shotgun forever. You decide, hero, villain, or just the girl who finally called collect.